So here you go. First trader comes out, begins his trade, and straight back to home, 179 gold, because he instantly sets the home market at the Chamber of Commerce. This is an incredible play from B. It's time for more legends from the ladders. And this time, we got some big shiny names at the top of that leaderboard. That's right, it is the Muslim versus B in a possible cavalry spam early game. I don't know, I'm just anticipating. All I know is this is some interesting civ choices for a map like Altai. Check it out. That's right. Now you see what I mean about early cavalry bouts. Both sides having access to that potential. The Rus versus French here on Altai. A map that isn't too desired for either of these civs, I feel like. Like the French, usually the issue they run into is that these are very condensed choke point type maps where raiding with French cavalry can be a little bit difficult. For the Rus, I feel like it's more to do with the generation being more confined and predictable, which means that most of the time your opponent will be able to deny their side of the deer, so you get less bounty overall. That in conjunction with the wood lines is the bigger issue. So like it's easy to get locked in on the thought of, oh man, there's less easily acquirable bounty or up for contention bounty. The bigger issue that the Rus run into is their biggest boom to their economy is their wood gathering, right? Like this is kind of a given. You will get an extra 20% wood on every drop-off. The issue, however, is there's a finite amount of wood. Now, this can be seen as a pro or a con, because if there's a finite amount of wood and you're getting an additional 20%, that should give you some burden of control, some influence over that very finite resource on the map. But it also could be argued the other way, that that means there's less of the resource you're getting more of available to you across this map. And that's before we even start talking about things like generation luck, right? Sometimes you do just get really bad generations. We've seen generations, even in official tournaments, where someone will get 4 of the 6 wood lines. If you're the Rus player and you're not getting those 4, your opponent is instead, it doesn't matter that you're getting an additional 20%. You're still going to be a deficit as you drag that later game. So we'll see what the opener is going to be out of the Muslim, considering we don't see Rus too often on this map. It could be a Pro Scouts type play. I doubt it heavily. Like Pro Scouts has fallen out of favor. And, well, to be honest, you get less value on this map anyway due to the deer locations. What I might be expecting is some boar play. Now, the boar is situated close to B's base, but the interesting part is it's on the way. So you could actually move out here, stab down the boar, and then set up a forward base from the high ground, Anakin, where B won't be able to easily react to it, even if he goes into French Knights, because if you station a base here and you drop a Rax and an archery range, you're pretty solid against more or less anything that B's going to produce in the Feudal Age and beyond. Opening-wise, better check on that bounty system. It looks like the Muslims getting a reasonable amount. Good old Benny boys bringing back the sheep as well, so that'll be additional bounty being accrued. But as it stands, like I believe all the sheep more or less collected. A few more that he's going to run to back here, and he did sneak on the back deer. Interesting that B allowed this. B, who did have 2 scouts himself, right? Yeah. Was his secondary scout late, or was he returning sheep? He might have been returning sheep. I feel like this was given for free, and it probably shouldn't have been. Because for those want a number on this is 70 gold going to your opponent for free. Which, if you deny that from your opponent, like you paid for your scout, right, in a different resource type, and also denied your opponent. But instead, the Muslim will reach 245. Head up with the Golden Gate. He has enough to crack the tier 2 bounty, which is where you're pretty kosher. And I feel like this could easily turn into the boar movement. It is very risky on this map, though. And I feel like if the Muslim does go hard for it, without any layer of protection, he will be vulnerable to a raid from French Knights. Or not. What? What am I seeing? What am I seeing right now? Has B misclicked? I think he's misclicked our brains. Because this is typical B right here. Do the unexpected. Innovate where no one sees innovation. The Chamber of Commerce, seemingly dead. Never willing to return any commerce, because actually there seems to be a bug with this right now. So for those wondering what the Chamber of Commerce does, it's a marketplace, as you can see there. And it has a unique perk to it, which is all traders and trade ships return 30% more resources to any market or dock. The weird part about this, actually, though, is that the additional returns don't apply to, I believe it's gold. There's a bug. It's either gold or the other types of resources. I think it's gold that you don't get the extra 30% on, and then wood or whatever else bonus you'll get, like bringing alongside your trade, you do get the extra 30%. But that's why it's a big deal breaker. Like, either way, it sucks. But if the gold isn't giving the extra 30%, that's a really big deal breaker because that means you're losing any big perk or uptick from going for this landmark compared to getting yourself a free stable that also produces your units 20% quicker. That's right. That's what the School of Cavalry does. But no, he goes to the Chamber of Commerce. At least he'll have his own version of trade very early on, but not as good as the Rus. Remember, the Rus who get this Golden Gate allows them to trade 100 of one resource for 150 or another. Well, through the medium of gold. So you can sell 100 of resource to get 150 gold, or you can use 100 gold to get 150 another resource. It's a very powerful, unique landmark that honestly I think is just absolute god tier. I wouldn't be surprised if it eventually gets tweaked in some way, so it acts a little bit similarly to maybe a marketplace, because it is kind of nuts that you can actually go 2-hour-long games when everyone else is getting, say, 30 of a resource for 130 of another in their trade on marketplaces. You'll still get the 100 for 150. So, let's see what the opening is going to be. So, going into the Chamber of Commerce, this has to be late game scalability. He's already moving out for the palisading. I wonder if there will be a trade play towards the trade post at the back. Yeah, yeah, there is. He's setting up the marketplace over there right now. Interesting choice here. Wait. No, that wouldn't make sense for the behavior. Surely not. This feels like an over... So, my thought process here as to why he's putting the marketplace down here like this is that he's going to build traders here, and then he's going to send them back to the Chamber of Commerce. But surely the behavior of this isn't something that I've seen recently, but you'd think the behavior of this would be that you have to, like, from wherever it begins its trade, like, it will calculate based on that distance. But I don't think so. No, I think this is right. He's going to begin the trade here, and then, as soon as they are spawned, these traders are going to click onto here, and then when he sends them back to the Chamber of Commerce, like, as long as he links it incorrectly, I think it should give him the full distance with half the distance traveled, which is phenomenal, if that's the case. I haven't seen someone do this, but it seems so, like, obvious now in my brain that this should work, right? If this does work, this is incredibly powerful, and this is a big boom to the power of trade. We'll see it in a second anyway. But I'm pretty sure this should work. Like, B, he seems like a smart cookie. No way he's done this without any thought process to it whatsoever. So here you go. First trader comes out, begins his trade, and straight back to home, 179 gold, because he instantly sets the home market at the Chamber of Commerce. This is an incredible play from B. This is so B tier. But remember, folks, when we talk about B tier, we actually mean S tier, because we spell that B tier with B-E-E. And to Muslim, I don't know if he'll be expecting this. He went for the backbore himself, so he's getting his own economical benefits, but I don't think it's going to compare to this. And the concern is, because the Muslim's gone for the backbore, he's probably not looking for feudal aggression, which means that B's whole strategy should come to fruition with little to no pressure upon him. Wow. This is so smart. And all the way over. And he built a market in the other corner, so didn't even bother to go back to the Chamber of Commerce. He already set up the maximum distance here. And this means now he can actually produce people out of this marketplace, these two marketplaces, and then instantly just cut the distance in half. Essentially just decreasing the return rate requirement, right? Like, usually when you build traders, they're a heavy investment because of how long it takes them to run across the map. You can see these numbers counting right now. Feels like it's got to be, what, 30 seconds? So if it's a minute each way to get 179 gold, that's a hefty investment. It takes a lot of time. There's a risk associated with it. He's minimizing the time, the risk. Like, he's getting paid, right? He's one of those loan sharks where, like, yo, my interest rates are 25%. He ain't doing these normal, yeah, we'll give you an 8% interest rate kind of loan. No, he's like, yo, you give me my money or I break your legs. And the war then will commence. So B already understands what he needs to do to make sure this pays off. Needs to be hidden as well. That's the concern right now. The Muslim, I don't think he spotted this at all. The Knight is going to come out now. That might chase him down and in towards it, which will give the info over. But the Muslim right now is not in position to exploit that at all. However, he is hitting his tech timing quickly. He's been casting up. That's about to complete. He already has the double racks and the archery range prepped. He's looking to man up with this pressure. And there we go. Scout snitches on it. Trader has been revealed. Trader who's getting a lot less value for some reason. B? I think that was a misclick. He's doing trade back towards the Chamber of Commerce. I don't think that was intended. But already up to 6 of these. And they are very quickly paying for themselves. I can't believe this. I can't believe that I've been casting Age of Empires 4 for months now. And this is the first time I've seen a player exploit this. Most players, I've seen a few, like Iaguz comes to mind when he attempted the Abbasid trade on choke point maps. He also would build the marketplaces over here and then push them towards the trade post. Nobody else I have witnessed has had the full process, like has had the kind of light bulb moment to say, yo, what if I just build the multiple marketplaces right next to the trade post and then half the distance? What a phenomenal turn of events. Like, this is so powerful. And it means that right now, the Muslim is on the clock. He's getting units out to pressure, but the walls do go up. Outpost on the central sacred site. But right now, B has completed the enclosure. And this is concerning. The Muslim will need to breach it fast because B is going to catch up in a rapido fashion. Now, the one limitation he needs to be careful of is the way he chips through this wood line, because he actually might breach his own base. Right now, he's spamming into the stables. He's finally making that transition to archery ranges. And this should set him up nicely. So right now, the Muslim, he needs a timing here. He needs a window of opportunity, and that opportunity has to come off the back of the blacksmiths. But right now, he doesn't have that, so no access easily into B's base. In the meantime, he's going to try to burn through the palisades using only the spearmen. But this is easily repaired by B. And B has such an efficient economy, he can actually afford to have idle villages repairing. Because you can see on the eco numbers, he's vastly ahead due to the trade. The trade are eco units as well, and they're earning their keep in the society. Burn throughs, multiple locations. Scout was snitches still. He's going to be brought to a rapid end as Tropical Archery Range goes down. And although the Palisade Gate's going to go down, will it? Is the real question. B, too late. Too late. Will be punished for it. Realizes it too late as well. Pulls back just in time. But that was min-max greed right there, folks. B, he had the opportunity to go repair that at any point. Chooses not to. And now he has to contest with a Wooden Fortress with these annoying pain in the ass upgrades, as well as the spearmen burning through, looking to raid onto your sides, and they will raid hard here. If anything, B, he needs to tech up soon and get access to Castle Age so he can push down those walls. Now, yes, he could place stone walls right now, but I assume he's playing by the tournament rules to try and prep himself for it. And there's no point relying upon the cheese of stone walls and feudal to make this strategy work in a pub game if you don't have access to that same means in the competitive environment. And also, the Muslim, by doing this, look what he's just done. He's secured a lot of relics. Relics that he wants, because he did go for the Abbey of Trinity. So now he has a quick way in. Well, not the quickest, but he has an easy access point to go in and gather up 2 more relics. The third one, at the bottom next to the marketplace, will require a little bit of a deeper dive. But will he want to make that dive out of position is the real question. He's shivering the boar in the meantime, so it's like Benny Boy's doing pretty well for himself. Up to 450 bounty, won't be able to get any further. But he's doing pretty well off of this. It's the extra resource nonetheless for a unit that was idling. And although the archer count has started to amass up, the Muslim still has a very strong point in this game. The question is whether B can continue to scale this market line to a point where it can pad his economy fully. Because the one concern that you have to have here is as you churn out more and more of these traders and they keep returning just gold, well, you're going to keep trading that gold, right, to get the resource you want. But as you do that, the trades get worse. So there is going to be a critical point where B is going to find diminishing value in what he's set up here. It's not like one of these civs that gets multiple lanes of value, right? Where you're getting this extra of like the trade with the wood or the stone or the gold, food, wood or stone, because for some reason it's not been turned on. He doesn't want anything else yet, which is kind of surprising here. Like, part of me is wondering if B's consciously aware that he could be he's got to know. There's no way that B would not know. But it does feel a little bit lopsided to still be producing this much gold out of your trade, when you could easily be padding your food, which is kind of the limiting factor at the moment. In fact, I'm pretty sure he is trading for it, right? Yeah. So he's trading for it instead of just getting it through the trade with the traders. What a weird choice. I'm starting to feel this might be an oversight. It's definitely suboptimal what he's doing. Like, he has so many traders here. Like, how many is he up to now? It has to be, like, what, getting close to 20? 17. So he could actually put, like, 4 or 5 of those on food, and he'd stabilize everything about his eco right now. In fairness, if he does tech up soon, he'll be able to stabilize it anyway because, like, more gold will be used into the wood, right, for Arbor of Trees. But, ooh, no luck with the Wololo. Raiden on the side is going to breach here, and this is something that needs to be addressed. Like, this is all because B, he's continued to be greedy. He hasn't set himself up for that situation where he can stonewall himself in, which means the Muslim is going to be able to block the trade here until he brings in a counterforce. Now, he's going to take a little bit of time because, remember, it's foot soldiers that do this. It's the archers, and the archers were out of position, so he's probably going to have to delay trade for maybe 30 seconds if the Muslim goes straight for it, but instead, the Muslim has stopped off for the mill. And he knows this is going on, folks. This isn't hidden information anymore. He ran a Monk down here. He would have seen the double marketplace, so he should be fully aware that his opponent is trading map side to map side. Yet instead of going and blocking this caravan route for even 30 seconds, which would be a huge hit to B's economy, he burns down the mill, and it means that the archers are almost in position and barely any trade is lost for B. And he will lose at least one or two of these traders now, as there's no escape from that many spears. But the archers are now coming, so minimum value is going to be achieved overall by DeMuslim here. Needs to keep raiding through, and he's breaching. Horse archers and spearmen on the way. And they're going straight for that trade line, and B has still not teched up. How is he still not teched up? We're so late in this game. It's almost 16 minutes in. He's had so much trade, and yet still he refuses to go up to castle. And now he's going to lose more of those traders. And this is a heavy hit. Every single one going down is hemorrhaging huge amounts of income away from B. And Spearman will deter the knights as they ride around with the horse archers. Horse archers trying to target out onto those archers. And the spears are getting good bang for buck as they trade out with these feudal knights in the vet up status. And it means although B has the numbers, these trades aren't good for him. Horse archers switching targets now, chasing away from the archers to try and get on the traders and kill off more of them. The spearman will chase away the knights. And although you will get DeMuslim out your base, you have the question mark. Was this damage even needed? Could you have just teched up? Should you have just teched up? Because you keep getting the numbers required for it, and instead of actually choosing to tech up, he doubles down on a feudal force which is slowly being outdone. For the moment, B is looking healthy. Eco lead has closed, 69 to the 63. Beautiful number. Military count also comparative. And that's concerning because DeMuslim can get the quality. He throws away these forces, but he should have more coming out soon. And here they come. Horse archers in, man-at-arms, spearmen, all of it in the combo. The spears need to be careful. DeMuslim with a little bit of a whoopsie-daisy and a miss micro there. Will maybe lose a few more troops need be, but he will retreat away. Continues to mass his forces. As it stands right now, income per minute is going to matter most on the food. And B still has the edge there. However, has he begun to switch over the trade? I don't think so. I'm hoping that this is just a bug. Some sort of visual bug, but I don't think it is. I mean, it has to be, right? Because B, like, if we look at income per minute, okay, the wood is sinking as he sets up a new wood line. Let's come back to this later, because we have got a fight going on, as the horse archers are going to be surrounded and chased away once more. Not the formidable firepower they once were. Tech up is going to be complete, and B is ready to rock and roll here. Finally, quickly up with the Guildhall. He now has the means to contend with his opponent. And I feel like DeMuslim hasn't really turned off the valve here, right? He hasn't stopped B from going and milking the cows on the farm, but he's going to do it now. Nice horse archer placement here. Going to deny a lot of equity. And B AFK with the archers. Not enough for them to easily deal with these horse archers, in fact. And that is going to be a lot of equity denial. DeMuslim, you see he's the gold hoarder now. He's starting to stockpile a hell of a lot. B, he actually needs to block this in. Like, he now has access. Surely just go Stonewall. Because if you don't, these raids are going to keep happening, and they're just going to get worse and worse as it takes you longer and longer to replace the lost traders. And archers will at least be able to chase away the horse counterpart, as Ruth will be forced to retreat to the northwestern corner, where they'll probably just pew-pew down a few more traders. Oh, a little bit greedy, actually. DeMuslim could have kept running before he turned and burned, but we'll get one more trader for his value. And it's totally worth it, right? Like, these traders cost 150 resources, so this is paying off. Quick wall. Oh, no, he couldn't quite get it. There was too much room to wiggle by as they chopped down too many trees, so the chase will continue on, but the walling over here should prevent them from eventually escaping, so the knights should be able to clean them up. The concern still is that B hasn't closed the gap, right? This flooding is still occurring because DeMuslim hasn't been stopped here. Like, he hasn't been blocked by any stone walls, any new palisade. And I feel like this shouldn't be allowed. I mean, to be honest, this whole strategy B's doing probably shouldn't be allowed. But like in terms of realistically, in terms of what you can do to block this out, it's very simple. Just stonewall this gap. And interestingly enough, it looks like B is going to go in for the Monastery. Thinks it's worthwhile to get the one relic. In fairness, it's not that bad of a trade. Like, I think B understands this game is going to have to drag now. So getting your hands on 100 gold per minute, like once it's banked, this investment will pay for itself in 3.5 minutes. I think that's why he does it. Like, realistically, this relic is not going to be taken by his opponent. He doesn't see the game ending soon in his favor, so he needs to stabilize for a later timing. Understanding that any small passive trickle of gold is going to be wanted, especially considering you have the unlimited scalability to your own economy, right? So many people on gold as well, despite your unlimited scalability. And this is one of the understandable paddings you have to make, right? Like, you can only rely on the trade as long as it's sustained. Once you lose, like, 6, 7 of these at this point in the game, it hard hits your eco. So you have to make sure that you're not throwing away villages so that it can actually keep you stabilized as you try to rebuild that. Because that's the point, right? It's a heavy investment. It's 150 resources to begin with. And although you've minimized the return time on that investment, it's still delayed in you getting even the resources you invested in it back. And that's the thing, like, a lot of people think of, oh, you know, you get infinite scaling. Yeah, but if I paid for something now and have to wait minutes to get just that back, is it worth it? No. Like, Shark Tank logic, right? If I could invest in your company and get my money back in 4 years, does that seem like a worthwhile investment? There's probably better things I could have done with that money over 4 years. B. Has he slowly been losing the spring? Yeah, he's slowly been losing the spring. The archery range is slowly going down just because it's Wooden Fortress the whole time. But damn, the range on these things is just absurd. And B chasing his opponent away, but he needs to be careful. He's getting very far out of position. However, the Muslim hasn't rode out yet, and now look at this, the Horsemen. Horsemen, Horse Archers. It's a rampant raiding force, even the Knights adding into the retinue. So the Muslim has gone full cavalry. He's looking to just breach and flood through. He understands that if he shuts down this trade, he eliminates most of B's scalability. Considering that he also has 4 relics, he understands that without that infinite scalability, B's going to dry up quickly, and we can see that effect already. Second wood line is almost depleted. Front one, he's left the rest of it due to the Springwood emplacement, and also it's blocking away into his base. But the way's about to open up. The Muslim is in, and he's going to flood through, and B was out of position, retreating back towards his main base now, but he's going to be too late to defend. And this is going to be heavy casualties. It's just a case of whether the Muslim can find the targets quick enough here as he rides in with the horsemen, with the archers, forcing the garrison out. These knights, they can't easily contest with this Zerg that's being thrown at them right now. As the Muslim has the bodies, he's going to rush in. Too many ranged units against this many horsemen. Knights as well getting on top of them. And all of a sudden, the arbaletaries and the archers cannot hold. The whole army is going to be wiped. B, with only a handful of knights, cannot hope to hold his opponent back. And the Muslim, he splits up to look for clues. It's not just this fight going on here. It's reinforcements trickling in that can go and find their way into his eco lines. And this main army will find their way there as well. As the entire army is going to fall from B. An interesting strategy, but the execution needs some work, as the only thing being executed here is B. What a interesting strategy that definitely needs to go back to the laboratory of B for a little bit, because it has to be said that there was some potential here. We saw it. We saw the way it was scaling. It looked really scary. B, he's onto something, but the Muslim, he's on something else. Speed, which allowed him to eliminate his opponent so quickly. Like, the ferocity with which he played, it was very smart the way he stabilized himself quickly off the board and then boomed up in the castle, understanding what B's play was. And this is all because of scouting. The Muslim would have probably played this game very differently if he hadn't identified the Chamber of Commerce that B placed. That is one detail I would highlight straight away, is that B could have placed this Chamber of Commerce at the back of his base. And then maybe the scout takes a little bit longer to spot it. Ultimately, it's probably going to be revealed. But you at least delay that timing. Maybe the Muslim gets forced into a suboptimal macro in the early game, and all of a sudden you have an edge. But ultimately, like, the issue I see for B here... Thank you, Square Window. Appreciate the subs. But the issue I see for B here is that he didn't change the resources he was trading for. I kept checking and I kept double thinking myself. I was like, maybe it's bugged. Maybe something's gone on here. Maybe I can't, like, maybe I just can't see it from an observer tab. But when I kept looking back at the numbers, like, I think mathematically, I was distracted by so much going on, so I couldn't, like, fine tune my maths. It looked like the income per minute added up logically for the villagers. So I don't think he was actually trading for the secondary resource with the French traders. Now, it could just be that this is outright broken right now. I wouldn't be surprised if a bug between like Christmas and now has caused that because we just don't see French trade, so it's hard to measure. I'd have to go test it myself. But I thought that this was like that was not the issue, that worked. The part that's bugged is that the resources you return with the Chamber of Commerce, like you're meant to get an additional 30%, but it only works for one type of resource. I think it only works for gold and it doesn't work for wood, food, or stone, or it's the other way around. Someone's going to slaughter me in the comments because I haven't checked this recently because nobody bothers Chamber of Commerce and I haven't even bothered looking at it until they fix it. But like either way around, like this might inform us as to why B was only going for gold, is that either he like didn't realize that he could switch it up, or it's because it's bugged and there was no additional value on that 30% that you get due to Chamber of Commerce in doing so. Either way, a really interesting strategy that could lead into something, especially if we get a fixed Chamber of Commerce in the upcoming patch. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with it. I'm excited to see if B can actually refine it in time for the second round of Golden League, because I think he's got something here. Like, this is early stages, but so was the ball rushes. And at first, he fell flat on his ass. But now, he's running like Usain Bolt with that one, and everyone else is as well. So I think B may just be about to innovate the French again, something that we have not seen truly done for them in the feudal age in a very long time.